Beloved child, there are times when your heart stands before crossroads, and even you do not know which way to go. You look around and see the doors you once hoped for now closed, the plans you once cherished slowly slipping from your hands like dust. But in the very moment when you think every path has become dim and uncertain, I am quietly preparing a new way for your life. Not a road paved with ease, but a road that will awaken your soul. So you may understand that I have never forgotten the promise I made to you. As it is written, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you hope in the end. Do you see? Even when you cannot yet see tomorrow, I have already been standing there, waiting for you with an everlasting love that never changes. I know there are nights when you ask yourself whether you are strong enough to continue. You look at your own weakness and think you are too small for the great things ahead. But beloved child, I never chose you because you were perfect. I called you because your heart still knows how to seek the light in the darkest days. A tiny seed can still break through dry, hardened soil to rise toward the sun, not because it is stronger than the earth and stones, but because there is life within it that I placed there from the beginning. You are the same. What keeps you standing is not your own strength, but my breath sustaining your soul day by day. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. When you are weary, I do not rebuke you. When your steps become slow, I do not turn away. I still patiently guide you, like a father holding the hand of a child learning to walk along a rough and uneven road. There will come days when I lead you through places that seem very ordinary, without applause, without radiant light. Yet it is there that I am working miracles deep within your life. You often think that holy things must arrive with great shaking, but I often plant eternal things in silence. Remember the story of the young Samuel in the temple long ago, when the darkness of night had fallen and everyone was asleep. I called his name in a gentle stillness. Samuel did not recognize my voice immediately, but because he opened his heart to listen, he finally answered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Beloved child, many times I am also calling you in such ordinary days, not through thunder or storm, but through a quiet stirring in your heart, through a small hope that refuses to go out. That is the moment when I am opening before you the door that leads into a new season of your life. I do not require you to know the entire journey before you take the first step. If I showed you everything from the beginning, perhaps your heart would be afraid because the road is too vast. That is why I shine light only on one step at a time, so you may learn to hold my hand instead of holding on to control. There are parts of the road you will pass through without understanding why you had to wait for so long. But beloved child, a farmer does not dig up the seed every day just to see whether it has grown. He patiently waters it because he knows that life is quietly forming beneath the soil. I am doing the same in your life. The prayers that seem unanswered have not been forgotten. I am using time itself to prepare your soul to become wide enough for what I am about to give you. Do not let fear make you return to the place I have called you to step out of. There are old doors that feel very familiar, but they are no longer where you belong. I am leading you into a new space, where you no longer live merely to survive, but to become a light for other souls. Each time you choose to trust me a little more, heaven plants more life within you. And even when you take only one small step with trembling faith, I can turn that step into the beginning of things beyond your understanding. As I have spoken, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I am not standing at the end of the road, waiting for you to find your way to me on your own. I am walking with you, right in the middle of this journey. Beloved child, perhaps today you still cannot clearly see what I am doing, but there will come a time when you look back and realize that every tear, every season of waiting, Every moment of weakness was gathered by me to weave a picture more beautiful than you had ever imagined. I do not waste your sorrow. I turn it into wisdom. I do not abandon your lonely days. I use them to teach you to recognize my voice more clearly amid the noise of the world. And then you will understand that the door I open does not only lead you to a new place, but also transforms your very soul into a new person. So today, do not be afraid to walk forward. Do not wait until you are perfect before you dare to begin. You only need to open your heart to me, even if it is only a very small crack, and my light will be enough to flood in and drive away the darkness that has lingered in your heart for many years. I am here, not as a distant God watching you fail, but as a gentle Father who is always ready to lift you up. And when you walk with me, even the driest land will bloom in its appointed season. Beloved child, I know there are days when your heart stands very close to something new, yet you cannot take even one more step, not because you do not want to keep going, but because deep within you there are still quiet fears that have not yet been named. You fear that you are not capable enough. You fear that if you step through that door, you will fail, lose your way, or lose yourself. But beloved child, listen to me with all the stillness within your soul at this moment. Not every door I open requires you to be strong immediately before you can enter. There are doors that are opened by the smallest faith, by a trembling yet sincere breath, by a faint whisper saying, "Lord, please lead me." And that is already enough for heaven to move on your behalf. I have never measured your worth by the speed of your steps. In my eyes, one slow step filled with trust is more precious than many hurried races built upon confusion. You often look at others and think they are braver than you, steadier than you, better prepared than you, but you do not see the nights when they once cried, the times when they once collapsed, the moments when they too stood silently before the threshold of their lives, not knowing where to go. Beloved child, I do not create two journeys exactly alike. I lead each soul in its own way, because I understand clearly what is taking place deep within every heart. As it is written, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might He increaseth strength. I myself am the one who soothes your soul in the very moment when you think you are weakest. Sometimes you think that if you are not ready, the door before you will close forever. But no, beloved child, what I have prepared for you is not so fragile that it can be swept away simply because your heart trembles for a day. My love is not like the limited patience of the world. I do not stand there in disappointment, counting how long you have delayed. I still hold that door with hands full of mercy, like a father standing on the porch each evening, waiting for his child to return. Remember the story of the woman who suffered from the issue of blood for 12 years. She carried so much shame, so much despair, and thought she was no longer worthy to come near the light. But the moment she found enough courage to touch the hem of my garment with a small faith, healing power immediately flowed forth. I did not ask her why she came so late. I did not rebuke her for having once doubted. What I saw was a heart that still wanted to reach for hope. And today, I am looking at you in the same way. Do not think that your hesitation makes me move away from you. It is in the very moments when your heart is weakest that I stand closer to you than ever before. There are nights when you think you are walking alone through an endless stretch of darkness. But in truth, I am still quietly placing my hand upon your shoulder to keep you from falling. I hear every prayer of yours that has not yet found words. I see even the tears you try to hide from everyone. And I want you to know this. You do not need to become a perfect version of yourself before you are worthy to step into what I have prepared. Light does not wait for a room to make itself clean before entering. It is the light itself that gradually drives out the darkness. Beloved child, sometimes I allow you to stand before a threshold for a long time, not to make things difficult for you, but to teach you to trust me more than your passing emotions. If everything were clear and easy, you would think you had enough strength in yourself to move forward. But when you must advance through uncertainty, you learn how to hold my hand with a deeper faith. Remember Peter, when he stepped down from the boat amid the great waves. As long as his eyes remained fixed on me, he was able to walk upon the water. Only when he looked at the storm and forgot that I was there, did fear begin to pull him down. Your life is the same. The storms are not a sign that I have abandoned you. Many times, right in the middle of those waves, I am teaching you to discover a strength you never knew you had before. So today, I am not urging you to run quickly. I am only gently calling you to take one more step. Just one step is enough. One sincere prayer is enough. One decision not to give up is enough to open the new things I have prepared for you long ago. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. When you stop trying to carry everything by your own strength, you will begin to feel the peace that comes from knowing I am leading the way. There will come a day when you look back on this season of hesitation and weep with gratitude. You will realize that I was never impatient with you. While you thought you were standing still, I was quietly healing, preparing, and strengthening your soul little by little. And the door before you, the very thing that once made you afraid, will no longer be a symbol of pressure, but proof that my love is great enough to wait for you to mature in your appointed season. Beloved child, be at peace. What I have prepared for you is still there, and my hands are still open wide to welcome you as you step in. Beloved child, I know there are days when you look at yourself and quietly think that you still lack so much. You look at the cracks within your soul, at the times you have failed, at the fears you have not yet overcome, and you wonder whether someone like you is truly worthy to step into the good thing I have promised. But beloved child, the reason I call you has never been found in the perfection you try to build for yourself. I am not searching for a flawless soul within you. I am looking for a heart that still knows how to turn toward the light even while walking through the darkest days. And that alone is already precious in my eyes. You often think you need to be stronger, more capable, more mature before you can begin the new journey. But listen to me deeply in this moment. If you had to make yourself complete before coming to me, then grace would no longer be grace. I do not wait for you to heal yourself before I embrace you. I embrace you in order to heal you. Just as the shepherd of old left the 99 sheep in the field to search for the one that was lost, I also come looking for you, not when you are at your brightest, but right when you are most weary and confused. He healeth the broken in heart, and bindeth up their wounds. Do you see? Even the things you most want to hide, I still touch gently with mercy. There are seasons when you think you have been left behind because everything around you seems to remain silent. You watch others move forward and wonder why your life seems to remain forever in a season of waiting. But beloved child, the season of waiting is not a punishment. It is the place where I am quietly preparing your soul for something greater than what your eyes can presently see. A seed does not bloom on the very day it is sown. It must remain in the darkness of the soil for a time, silently drawing in unseen life before it rises toward the light. If the seed could speak, perhaps it too would think it was being buried. But in truth, it is being prepared to grow. Your life is often the same. The silent days do not mean that I have forgotten you. They are the moments when I am doing my deepest work within your soul. Remember Joseph, who once received a great dream from me, yet afterward was sold as a slave and imprisoned in a dark dungeon. There may have been moments when he thought the holy promises of long ago had become nothing more than distant memories. But even in the place where he seemed most forgotten, I was quietly preparing him for a position he was not yet strong enough to carry when he was young. If I open a door too soon, your soul may not yet be mature enough to hold what I entrust to you. That is why, sometimes, my love is revealed through waiting, because I want what comes to you to be not merely a temporary blessing, but something that can remain firmly and lastingly in your life. Beloved child, the world often urges you to run faster, to prove your worth through achievement and recognition. But the rhythm of heaven is not measured by haste. I do not lead you by pressure, I lead you by peace. When you rush, you can easily lose the gentle voice I am placing within your heart. But when you sit still beside me, your soul will begin to hear more clearly what truly matters. Just as the prophet Elijah once sought me in the great wind, the earthquake, and the fire, yet finally encountered me in a still, small voice. You too will realize that many times I do not come through noise, but through a very deep peace that gradually brings your heart to rest. Do not fear that you are falling behind. What I have prepared for you will not be stolen simply because you need more time to grow. No one can take away the portion I have appointed for you. I hold it by my own everlasting faithfulness. Just like a father who keeps the lamp burning at the doorway, waiting for his child who has gone far away to return, I also keep your place ready for you in the plan I prepared before you ever cried your first cry. All things work together for good to them that love God. Even on the days when you understand nothing, I am still weaving something beautiful from every broken piece of your life. There are times when waiting will feel like a long desert, where you see no clear sign at all. But it is there that I am teaching you to drink from a source of water that does not depend on circumstances. The people of Israel walked through the wilderness for many years, not because I had abandoned them, but because I wanted to teach them that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And today, I am teaching you in the same way. When you no longer cling to the validation of people, your soul will begin to take deeper root in me. Therefore, beloved child, do not force yourself to understand everything right now. Sit with me in that holy stillness. Let me pour into your heart the peace that the world cannot give. Day by day, I will replace the fear within you with steadfastness. Little by little, I will turn your tears into water that refreshes your soul. And then, at the appointed time I have set, you will step through that door, not with a terrified heart, but with the deep peace of one who knows that they are being led by me. Beloved child, there are moments in your life that seem so small that even you do not realize. Heaven is quietly watching every movement of your heart. A deep breath after many weary days. A moment when you stop resisting and softly say, Lord, I will trust you once more. A trembling step that does not turn its back on hope. To the world, these things may seem insignificant, but to me, they are the beauty of a soul learning to walk in the light. You do not need to do anything glorious in order to begin the journey with me, for many of the greatest miracles often begin from very quiet things. I know you once thought that, in order to step into something new, you had to become strong immediately, to have a faith without any doubt, to know clearly everything that lies ahead. But, beloved child, if I only called the perfect, no one would be worthy to come near me. What I seek is not a display of strength, but a heart willing to open even while it is still weak. Remember the little boy long ago who had only 5 loaves and 2 fish among a hungry crowd. In human eyes, that portion was far too small to accomplish anything great. But when the boy offered it with a simple heart, I multiplied the little into abundance and fed a great multitude. Do you see? What I have needed from you has never been an abundance of ability, but the willingness to place your small offering into my hands. Do not fear quiet beginnings. When a seed is planted in the soil, it makes no sound. No one hears the moment it begins to take root. Yet in that silence, life is quietly stirring. Your spiritual life is the same. There are changes I am working within you that other people's eyes cannot see. Perhaps today you do not yet feel anything great taking place. But every time you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, prayer instead of despair, and continuing forward instead of giving up, heaven records it as the footsteps of a maturing faith. Beloved child, there will be a time when the door I open before you comes more suddenly than you expected. There are things you have prayed for over many years that seem to remain silent. And then one day, I will cause everything to move in a single moment. And you will wonder how everything could change so quickly. But remember this, just because you cannot see me acting does not mean I am not working. When the seed still lies beneath the ground, it is still growing day by day, even though your eyes cannot see it. When I prepare you in silence, the foundation of the new thing is already being built. At the appointed time, the door will open, not because of luck, but because your season has come. Sometimes that door opens right in the midst of ordinary chaos. In the middle of days when you have not prepared your heart for a great change. Moses was tending sheep in the wilderness when the bush burned with fire, and I called him to step into his destiny. Mary was not seeking any extraordinary role when the angel came to announce that she would carry the Savior. The things that come from me often do not arrive with the sound of a loud trumpet, but appear within the rhythm of life that seems very ordinary. Therefore, do not look down on the simple days you are living. I can use even a moment that seems small to change the entire direction of your life. The heart of man deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Beloved child, I am guiding even the things you do not yet understand. The meetings that seem accidental, the doors that closed and made you sad, the delays that once disappointed you, all of them are held within my hand. Nothing happens outside my knowing, and one day, when you look back, you will see that the paths which once seemed scattered were actually being joined together into a very beautiful road that I had quietly prepared for you long ago. So today, do not force yourself to run quickly. I do not love you more when you accomplish more things. My love does not rise and fall according to your success or failure. What delights my heart is your faithfulness in each small step, a sincere prayer in the middle of the night, a moment when you rise again after disappointment, a day when you continue to believe, even though you have not yet seen the result. These are the things that echo in heaven more than the glittering things the world can see. Beloved child, if today you only have enough strength left within you to whisper, I believe, then that is enough. Walk forward with that peace. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need to display your strength. You only need to keep holding my hand and take one step at a time. And I promise you this, on every road ahead, you will never walk alone. I will go before you to open the way. I will walk beside you to sustain you. And I will also go behind you to keep you from collapsing. Then one day, you will realize that the greatest miracle is not only that the door has opened, but that your soul has learned how to walk with me through every season of life. Beloved child, I see that your heart has begun to soften after long seasons of uncertainty. The fears that once made your steps heavy no longer rule over your soul as they did before. And now, within the very deep stillness I am placing in your heart, something is beginning to move, not with the loud noise of the world, but with the quiet stirring of a new season drawing near. Perhaps your eyes cannot yet clearly see its shape. Perhaps you still cannot name what I am preparing. But beloved child, not everything that belongs to me needs to be understood from the beginning in order to become real. There are doors that only become clear when you have enough peace to come closer. I know there were times when you stood before doors that seemed forever closed. You prayed with tears. You knocked with both hope and weariness. And many times you quietly turned away because you thought I had been silent for too long. But beloved child, my silence is not rejection. There are things that, if they came too soon, would become a burden instead of a blessing. Therefore, I allowed time to do its quiet work in your life. Just as fruit needs its appointed days before it can become sweet, your soul also needs seasons of waiting in order to mature in faith. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. I have appointed the time for every door in your life, and no power can open too early or close what I have ordained. You often think that if you try harder, pray more, and make everything more perfect, then the door will open more quickly. But listen to me deeply within your heart today. What I have prepared for you cannot be purchased with exhaustion. Grace is not a reward for those who never grow weary. Grace is the gift I give to those who know how to trust me, even when they no longer have the strength to hold everything together by themselves. There are doors that do not open because you knock harder, but because, at the appointed time, I stand on the other side and gently open them for you. And when I act, no power can stand in the way. Remember Esther, the young woman who once thought she was only an ordinary person in the midst of a vast empire. Perhaps she too did not understand why her life had to pass through sudden changes, pressured circumstances, and days that seemed to have no answer. But then, at the appointed time, I brought her into the position I had prepared beforehand to save her people. That did not happen by luck. It was an arrangement woven long before within my plan, and your life is the same. The detours, the delays, the doors that once closed before you were not meaningless. I am connecting each piece that you cannot yet fully see today. Beloved child, do not confuse my hand with the randomness of the world. I do not work by accident. I see ahead to things you have never even thought of. Even the small encounters, the delays that confuse you, the changes you thought were accidental. I can use them all to lead you to the exact place I desire. Just as Joseph was sold into a foreign land and passed through prison before becoming the one who helped save many peoples from famine, the road I lead you on is not always easy to understand while you are walking it. But when you look back, you will realize that not one of your tears was wasted. Perhaps today you still do not see the door fully opened, but pay attention to the small movements within your soul. Peace is beginning to grow larger than fear. Hope is beginning to return after long, dry days. These are signs that I am preparing you for something new. A gardener does not pull a young sprout out of the soil to force it to grow faster. He patiently cares for it because he knows that life is quietly rising from within. I am doing the same with you. I am teaching you to take deeper root in me, so that when the door opens, you will not step in merely with passing emotion, but with a soul steady enough to remain in what I give you. There will come a day when you hear the sound of the hinges turning in your life. Perhaps it will come very gently. Perhaps it will appear in the middle of a very ordinary day. But in that moment, you will understand that the seasons of waiting before were not meaningless delays, but the time when I was quietly preparing everything. And when that door opens, you will no longer have to strive to prove that you are worthy. You will walk forward with the peace of one who knows that this did not come from your own effort, but from my faithful love. So today, do not be afraid if you do not yet understand the whole journey ahead. Do not force yourself to see the entire picture. Simply continue walking with me. Every small step you take in faith is bringing you closer to the time I have appointed. And when that hour comes, you will realize that I, myself, was the one who kept that door for you throughout the long journey. Not because you are perfect, but because I have loved you with an unchanging love from the very beginning. Beloved child, there are moments in life that come so quickly that your heart has not yet had time to understand what is happening. Only yesterday you were still praying through a long season of waiting, and yet today the door has suddenly opened before your eyes. And this leaves you confused, because you once thought that when the time truly came, you would be completely ready, completely calm, completely certain. But beloved child, many times my presence enters your life in ways you did not imagine. I do not always come amid thunderous sounds or radiant light that makes everything obvious. Sometimes I come like a gentle breeze in the stillness of the afternoon, yet with enough power to change the entire direction of your life. You have searched for great signs to confirm that I am working. But sometimes it is in the deepest silence that my power moves most strongly. Remember Samuel when he was still a young boy sleeping in the temple. I did not call him in the midst of a noisy crowd, but in the quiet darkness of the night, when every other sound had grown still. And in the same way, there are times when I wait for your soul to stop panicking, to stop trying to control everything, so that you may hear my voice more clearly. The very moment you pause to breathe, to release some of your fear, is the moment I begin to open something new in your life. I know there are doors that overwhelm you because they arrive beyond what you expected. You look at what I have placed before you and ask yourself, am I truly capable enough for this? But beloved child, if every door I open fit perfectly within your confidence, you would think you were walking by your own strength. There are things I deliberately make greater than your sense of safety so that you may learn to hold my hand more deeply. When Peter stepped down from the boat onto the stormy sea, he did not walk because he understood everything that was happening. He walked only because he heard me speak one word, "Come." And that alone was enough for the water to uphold his feet. You do not need to understand the entire journey before you can step through the door I open. Faith is not seeing everything first and then walking. It is daring to walk, even while some things remain unclear. I do not expect you to enter with the appearance of someone who has never been afraid. I only desire that you enter as a child who knows they are loved and guided. Your hand may still be trembling. Your heart may still be caught between hope and anxiety. But as long as you do not turn your back on my calling, I will do the rest. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. I have never asked you to carry your future by yourself. I only call you to walk with me one day at a time. Beloved child, I see very clearly the quiet battle within your heart. On one side is the voice that makes you feel you are not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. On the other side is the small flame that keeps urging you toward the light. And I want you to know that it is precisely in the place where you feel weakest that my power is revealed most fully. Remember Gideon, the man who once hid himself in fear and thought there was nothing special about him. Yet I called him a mighty man of valor before he even believed that about himself. I see you not only as you see yourself now, but as the person I am shaping you to become. Do not be afraid if the door I open comes suddenly. The things that belong to me do not need to be forced or seized in panic. When something truly comes from me, it will carry with it a deep current of peace that your soul can recognize. Not the kind of peace that makes every difficulty disappear immediately, but the gentle assurance that says, I am here. The world pressures you to grasp every opportunity out of fear of missing out. But I lead you with the peace of one who knows that what belongs to them will not be taken away. When I open the door meant for you, no one else can step through it in your place. Perhaps in the past you thought delay was a sign that I had forgotten you. But no, beloved child, many times I delay because I am doing a deeper work within your soul. The potter does not hurry to place the vessel into the fire while the clay has not yet been fully shaped. And I do not bring you into a new season when your heart is not yet soft enough to receive what I am giving. But when the appointed time has come, I will cause everything to move faster than you imagined. What once stood still will begin to open a way. The prayers that seem to have fallen asleep will awaken, and you will realize that throughout all that time, I never stopped working. So today, do not force yourself to calculate everything. Do not wait until you have every answer before you begin to walk. The sea does not need to understand where the wind comes from in order to know that the season has changed. And you do not need to understand all of my plans before you can respond to my calling. As long as your heart still knows how to say, "Father, I trust you," that is already enough to open a new chapter. Walk in that peace, beloved child, for it is my love that is leading the way for you, and my hands will never let go of your life. Beloved child, I have heard the prayers you whispered through very long nights that no one else knew about. I saw the tears you tried to wipe away before dawn came. There were times when you knelt down only to ask for a small sign, an answer clear enough for your heart to stop wandering in confusion. And then you thought that if I answered, surely the heavens would shake, and everything would become obvious and powerful. But beloved child, many times, my answer does not come as lightning across the sky, but as a quiet door opening before you, not noisy, not showy, only gentle yet full of power, like the morning light slipping through the window after a long, dark night. I know you still hesitate as you stand before this new thing. One part of you wants to step forward, but another part fears that you are not ready enough. You wonder whether your still trembling feet can pass through that door. But beloved child, I have never required you to become invincible before you may walk with me. What I seek is not perfection in the way you walk, but softness in a heart that knows how to respond to my voice. Remember Moses long ago, when I called him to lead my people out of Egypt. He looked at himself and said that he was slow of speech, not capable enough for such a great task. But I did not call him because he was strong. I called him because I would go with him. And today, I am saying the same to you. What you cannot do, I can. Do not let fear keep you standing forever outside the door I have already opened. There are things that can only be understood after you begin to walk. Faith does not grow in absolute control, but in daily surrender. When Joshua led the people across the Jordan River, the waters did not part first before they stepped down. It was when the priests placed their feet into the water that the miracle began to happen. Do you see? Many times, I wait for your small step as a sign that you are willing to trust me more than what your eyes can see. And even if that step still trembles, I am still pleased to sustain you. Beloved child, there will come a time when you look back on everything that has passed and realize that not one door I closed was meaningless. The rejections that once broke your heart were actually saving you from places where you did not belong. There were things you once begged me to keep, but if I had given in to your desire at that time, your soul would not have been able to step into the better thing I have prepared for you today. Just as Joseph was once sold away from his family and seemed to have lost every dream, yet that very road of loss led him to the place I had appointed in order to save many lives. The scattered pieces of your life are also being joined together by my wise hand, far beyond your understanding. And at the appointed time, you will see the complete picture that today you can only glimpse in fragments. The Lord, He it is that doth go before thee. He will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Beloved child, I am not standing far away, watching you struggle on your own. I go before you to prepare the way. I remain beside you to keep your heart from losing courage. And I am also behind you, protecting you from things you cannot see. Therefore, do not panic when everything begins to move faster than you expected. There are seasons when I cause everything to unfold slowly in order to heal your soul. But there are also seasons when I open one door after another to bring you into the place I prepared long ago. I know that rapid change can sometimes make you feel as though you have lost control. But beloved child, you were not called to control everything. You were called to trust me. A child does not need to understand the entire road his father is leading him on in order to hold his father's hand. He only needs to know that this hand will not let him go. And I am holding you in the same way. When you see everything accelerating, do not think your life is slipping out of your hands. Understand that I am moving. The prayers that once lay still are now beginning to bloom. The doors that were once tightly locked are now being opened by the very timing I appointed before the first morning of your life. So today, what I desire from you is not a perfect plan. I do not need you to prove that you are capable enough to step into the future. What I am looking for is a heart that knows how to obey in simplicity. A soul that, though still carrying many questions, can still say, "Father, if you lead me, I will walk." That is the faith that delights me more than every achievement the world can offer. Beloved child, let gratitude become the ground beneath your feet in this new season. Do not focus on what you do not yet understand. Remember the times I have kept you through so many dark nights before. The one who did not abandon you in those painful days will not leave you in this new chapter. And then, one step at a time, you will realize that the greatest miracle is not only that the door has opened, but that your heart has finally learned how to walk in my peace. Beloved child, there will come a day when you stand still and look back on the road you have traveled, and you will realize that the greatest miracle was not the door opening, but your own soul becoming different after passing through it. There were limits that once made you think you would remain forever trapped in a narrow place of fear and doubt. You once believed that you were not strong enough to keep going, not brave enough to go farther, not worthy enough to touch something better. But beloved child, when I lead you through the thresholds I have appointed, you will understand that I am not only changing the circumstances around you, I am expanding your very heart so that you can receive life more abundantly than before. There are seasons when you think your life is nothing but chaos. Days when everything seems to come rushing in all at once. Questions without answers. Doors that have just opened, yet bring so many new things that leave you overwhelmed. You feel as though you are standing in a strong wind, not knowing what to hold on to. But beloved child, listen to me deeply in this moment. The presence of chaos does not mean I have departed from your life. Many times, right in the middle of what seems most confusing, I am doing my deepest work within your soul. Just as in the beginning, when the earth was without form and darkness covered the face of the deep, my spirit still moved upon the waters of chaos to prepare for the light to appear. And today, it is the same. I am still moving in the midst of the things you do not yet understand. You often want everything to be clear before you can be at peace. But the peace I give does not come from your ability to control the future. True peace comes when you realize that even though the future is not yet clear, I am still holding it. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Do you see? I do not lead you by panic. I lead you by the deep rest of a soul that knows it is being sheltered. Therefore, do not be afraid when your heart does not yet understand everything. There are truths that can only be seen clearly after you have passed through the mist. Remember the disciples on the boat in the darkness of night when the sea was raging fiercely. They were terrified because they thought everything was about to sink in the storm. But I was still there, right there in that boat, even though they had not yet recognized that my peace was greater than the waves around them. And then, with only one spoken word, I made the sea become still. Beloved child, many times in your life, it is the same. You look at the sound of the wind. You look at the movements happening too quickly around you, and you forget that I am still present in the very midst of that circumstance. I have not lost control simply because you feel that everything is slipping beyond your reach. I know your eyes have grown weary from trying to find meaning among so many overlapping things. There are days when you want to stop just to ask, Lord, what are you truly doing in all of this? But beloved child, not every seed sprouts before the eyes of the one who planted it. There are things I am doing quietly beneath the surface that you cannot yet see. When the weaver looks too closely, he sees only tangled threads crossing over one another. But when the fabric is complete, every line becomes beautiful and full of meaning. Your life is also being held in these hands of mine. No thread has been placed in the wrong position. No pain is useless. No season of waiting is wasted. Beloved child, I am not merely bringing you through a difficult season. I am bringing you into a new chapter of your soul. And that new chapter does not begin with perfection, but with gentle surrender. When you stop trying to understand everything and begin to trust me more, you will feel a very strange freedom. No longer having to chase the certainty of the world. No longer having to force yourself to control every detail. Only the peace of one who knows that the one who leads the way has never fallen asleep. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. It is precisely when you feel most fragile that I am working most powerfully. I do not need your own strength to complete the plan I have appointed. What I need is a heart that does not close itself to my calling. A soul that, though still confused, dares to say, I will continue walking with you. So today, let your heart become still like the surface of a lake after a strong wind has passed. Do not try to gather every answer in a single day. Do not force yourself to see the whole road ahead. Simply continue taking small steps with me. And then, at the end of that road that once seemed so full of chaos, you will look back and weep when you realize that I never left you for even a single moment. The very place where you thought you were most lost was the place where I was quietly laying the foundation for a new grace you had never known before. Beloved child, I know there are days when you feel as though your life is being swept along too quickly. Everything moves so rapidly that your heart has no time to rest. One change after another. Overlapping emotions. Unanswered questions. All of it makes you feel as though you are standing in the middle of a whirlpool with nothing to hold on to. But beloved child, do not be quick to think that every acceleration is a sign of disaster. There are seasons when I allow the wind to blow more strongly in order to awaken your soul from its old shelter, from familiar things that have kept you still for too long. If everything remained calm forever in the way you desired, perhaps you would never realize that I am calling you to go farther. But listen to me deeply within your heart at this moment. I have not called you to live according to the haste of the world. The world always urges you to run faster, to grasp everything before it is too late, to prove your worth through speed and achievement. But I lead you by peace. The hurried current around you is only your circumstance. It is not the final voice that directs your life. My true voice is always found in the quietest place within your soul, the place that is not ruled by fear, not distorted by human judgment, and not swept away by temporary storms. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Do you see? True strength does not come from being able to control everything. It comes from knowing how to return to my presence while everything around you is still chaotic. A river, though full of waves on the surface, still has a deep and quiet place beneath. I want your heart to be the same. Not that there will be no more storms, but that there will be a hidden depth within you that remains at peace because it knows I am there. Beloved child, I know you have wondered why so many things have become tangled all at once. There are relationships that change unexpectedly. There are doors that close without warning. There are hopes you once held tightly that suddenly become fragile. And sometimes, even your faith feels tired. But remember this, I do not create chaos in order to destroy you. I use even the things you do not understand to lead you closer to the purpose I have for your life. Like a skilled craftsman who can see the completed image even when only scattered fragments lie before him, I also see what you cannot yet see. Remember Joseph, if you looked at each event in his life separately, everything would seem like a series of continuous brokenness, betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, falsely accused, forgotten in prison, but I never took my eyes off him for even a single moment. Each thing that seemed unjust became the road leading him into the position I had appointed beforehand. And then one day, he could say, "Ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good." Beloved child, what causes you pain today is not the final conclusion. I am still writing the rest of your story. There are times when you pray but receive only silence in return, and that leaves your heart confused. You think that if I were truly near, surely you would hear something more clearly. But beloved child, I do not always speak with a great and thunderous sound. When Elijah hid in the cave in the midst of despair, he waited for me in the strong wind, in the earthquake, and in the burning fire. But I was not in those things. I came in a still, small whisper that only a soul willing to become quiet could recognize. And today, I am near to you in the same way. Not loudly, not forcefully, but gently reminding you, do not be afraid. I am still here. Beloved child, the silent spaces are not meaningless emptiness. They are the place where I am deepening the roots of faith within you. A tree that wants to stand firm in the storm must have roots deep enough beneath the ground. And many times, before I bring you into a new season, I will lead you through quiet days so that your soul may learn to root itself in me instead of in circumstances. If everything were always easy to understand and easy to walk through, you would easily lean on your emotions more than on my guidance. So today, do not be afraid if you do not yet understand the whole picture. Do not let the hurried rhythm of life steal the peace I am placing within your heart. Return to that quiet place each day. Let your heart rest in my presence instead of sinking into the noise of the world. And then, amid all the movements that seem chaotic, you will begin to see my hand gently arranging everything. One day, when you look back, you will realize that the things which once frightened you were actually the necessary shifting that brought you into a new form of obedience and maturity. The broken pieces will be joined together. The tears will carry meaning. The silent days will become proof that I was closer to you than ever before. And through it all, you will understand that I never lost control even in the very seasons when you thought everything was falling apart. Beloved child, I have never loved you because you do everything perfectly, nor do I look at you with the eyes of the world where people often measure one another's worth by success, by the ability to stay in control, or by the appearance of strength. What moves my heart is not that you always keep everything within your grasp, but the way you still return to me when everything has gone beyond your ability. I see the nights when you sit silently in weariness, no longer knowing how to pray, yet still trying to whisper my name in the darkness. I see your hands trembling from exhaustion, yet still folded together in the fragile hope that I am listening. And beloved child, I truly am listening. I love the sincerity within you more than any false appearance of strength. There are prayers of yours that are incomplete, not beautiful, and at times are only wordless sighs. But to me, they are still more precious than eloquent words that do not come from the heart. Just like Hannah, the woman of old, who stood in the temple with only her lips moving in deep hidden pain, I still heard every silent cry within her. People did not understand what she was carrying in her heart, but I understood, and today it is the same. Even though no one knows the full battle within your soul, I still see it all clearly. You often think that you need to do something great in order to be noticed by me. But, beloved child, a soul that remains in me amid the storm is more beautiful than many glorious things the world praises. I treasure the fact that you continue to believe even when you have not yet seen the answer. I treasure the fact that you still return to prayer even when your heart is full of unanswered questions. There are days when you think your faith is too small, But that very small faith is the lamp I am keeping from going out in the strong wind. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. The peace I give is not like the fragile calm of circumstances. It does not depend on whether everything around you is stable or not. My peace is a deep stream flowing beneath every great wave. Outwardly, your life may still have many things that are not yet in order, but if your heart remains in me, you will still have a place to rest. Beloved child, I know there are times when you feel as though you are walking through a thick fog. No signposts, no clear direction, no specific answer for the future. That frightens you, because you want to know where you are going before you continue moving forward. But I am teaching you something deeper than the certainty of what your eyes can see. I am teaching you to walk by faith. A sailor in the middle of the ocean cannot always see the shore, yet he continues the journey because he has a compass to guide him. And the compass I have placed within your heart is the peace that flows from my presence. Do not take that peace lightly. Many times, you search for great signs and forget that I often guide you through very gentle assurances. Not a pressure filled with panic, not a voice that makes you breathless with fear. My guidance is like a gentle current carrying a boat in the right direction through the darkness of night. The closer you remain to me, the more your heart learns to recognize that rhythm. Perhaps today you are still in the middle of confusion, relationships that are not yet clear, plans that have not yet taken shape, worries you do not know where to lay down. But do not think that this confusion makes me farther from you. It is precisely in the place where you feel weakest that I am drawing you closer to my heart than ever before. When you no longer have enough strength to lean on your own ability, you will begin to learn how to lean on my grace, and that is not failure. Beloved child, that is the maturity of a soul, learning to live by faith. Remember Peter when he walked upon the water. As long as his eyes remained fixed on me, he stood firm amid the waves and wind. Only when he looked at the storm and his own fear did he begin to sink. Your life is the same. If you keep staring at the chaos around you, your heart will easily become troubled. But if you turn your eyes back to me, you will realize that my hand has never left your life. Beloved child, I do not give you the entire map because I want you to learn how to walk with me day by day. If you knew everything from the beginning, you might only trust the plan and forget the one who leads the way. But as you take each small step in surrender, the relationship between you and me will become deeper. And then you will understand that the most precious thing is not reaching the destination quickly, but learning how to walk in my presence. So today, breathe gently. Let your heart rest in my unchanging love. You do not need to understand everything right now. You only need to continue following the peace I have placed within your heart. Step by step, I will lead you through every turn, through every dark season, even through the places where you thought you did not have enough strength to keep going. And at the end of the journey, you will realize that the compass I placed within you never pointed in the wrong direction, because I, myself, am the one who has been holding your soul throughout the entire way. Beloved child, there are seasons in your life that are like a seed, buried deep beneath a dark layer of soil. No light, no sign of life, only the feeling of being covered over by things that are heavy and difficult to understand. And in days like these, it is easy for you to think that you have been forgotten, that your prayers have fallen into a silent emptiness. But beloved child, a seed does not die when it is buried in the earth. It is precisely in that dark place that life begins to move quietly. The first roots are formed in darkness before the young shoot can touch the light. Your soul is the same, right within the circumstances that confuse you most. I am quietly bringing you into a new season of growth. I know there are tears you have kept hidden for a very long time. There are nights when you lie down with a heart so heavy that you no longer have the strength to pray in words. But beloved child, I have never missed a single one of your tears. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. Just because you cannot yet see the harvest today does not mean the field of your life is empty. I am using the very pain you have endured to water your soul with a new life you have never known before. Therefore, do not be afraid to keep walking while everything is still unclear. I do not wait for the wind to stop blowing before I lead you forward. An eagle does not learn to fly in a perfectly calm sky. It learns to spread its wings amid strong currents of wind. And you too will learn to trust me, not when everything is easy, but right in the midst of these chaotic days. One small step of faith in the storm is more beautiful than 1,000 confident steps beneath a clear sky. I do not require you to understand everything before you continue. I only gently call you to keep walking with me. Beloved child, I know your heart is tired. I see the smiles you try to hold on your face so that others will think you are still all right. I hear even the sighs you swallow down inside because you do not want anyone to see your weakness. But I see it all, and I want you to know that you do not need to keep pretending to be strong before me anymore. Let your heart rest in my presence, for I do not love you because of how well you endure. I love you simply because you are my child. There are burdens you have carried for so long that you have begun to think they are your responsibility. You carry anxiety for everyone. You hold on to old wounds. You cling tightly to disappointments as though, if you let them go, you would lose a part of yourself. But beloved child, not everything you are holding was created to remain in your hands. There are pains I want to heal, but you are still holding them like a familiar garment. There are pressures I want to carry in your place, but you keep trying to bear them yourself because you think that is how you become stronger. Remember Martha long ago, troubled and weary because she had so many things to take care of, while Mary simply sat quietly at my feet and listened. Martha thought she had to do so much in order to be worthy of my presence, but what I desired was not her exhaustion. What I desired was a heart that knew how to rest in my love. And today, I am inviting you in the same way, not to run faster, not to control more, only to sit near me long enough for your soul to breathe. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Beloved child, that invitation has never changed. I do not only want to save you from brokenness, I want to free you from the burden you were never created to carry. Your shoulders were not made to bear the whole world. You do not need to hold everything together by yourself. There are battles that do not belong to you. There are outcomes that are not in your hands. And there are things that can only truly be healed when you are willing to lay them down before me. I know that letting go frightens you, because sometimes you think that if you do not hold on to everything, it will all disappear. But beloved child, laying things down is not weakness. There are times when letting go is the bravest act of faith. When you place something into my hands, you are acknowledging that my power is greater than your control. And that is where freedom begins. Just as the people of Israel had to let go of Egypt in order to step into the promised land, you too will have things you must leave behind so that your soul may become lighter. Not everything familiar was created to walk with you forever. There are seasons that must close so a new season can begin. And I will not take anything from you unless I have something better to give back to you at the right time. So today, gently lay those burdens down at my feet. Do not be afraid if your heart is still trembling. I do not wait for you to become completely strong before I sustain you. It is precisely when you are weakest that my arms are closest to you. Keep walking. Even if it is only one small step, keep believing. Even if that faith is still fragile, for I am here, and right in the place that seems broken. I am causing new life to spring forth within your soul, a life that only my love can create. Beloved child, I know that for a very long time you have grown used to holding everything together by yourself. You have learned how to hide your tears, how to smile while your heart is breaking, how to say that you are fine, even when your soul is exhausted from carrying too much. You think strength means never falling, that maturity means having to solve everything alone without needing anyone to lift you up. But beloved child, I have never called you to live as a lonely warrior in this world. I did not create you to carry the whole sky upon your small shoulders. What I desire from you has never been the cold perfection of someone who does not know weakness. I do not love you more when you endure better. I only want you to come near to me as your true self, with the wounds that have not yet healed, with the sleepless nights, with the sighs you have never dared to speak to anyone. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart. Do you see? I do not move away from you when you are weak. It is precisely when you are most exhausted that I stand closer to you than ever before. Beloved child, I suffer with you. When you silently weep in the darkness, I do not stand watching like a stranger. I am right there. When your heart is heavy with responsibilities and with things that cannot yet be put into words, I also feel that weight with you. For true love does not appear only in days of joy. True love enters even the most painful places and remains there. Remember me in the Garden of Gethsemane long ago. I too once knelt in the darkness and said that my soul was exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. I understand the feeling of an exhausted heart. I understand the loneliness of not being fully understood by anyone. So do not think that I do not understand you. Breathe. Beloved child, pause for a little while in the middle of this long race. You do not need to keep bracing yourself any longer. Take a deep breath, and in that very breath, allow me to enter the place where your heart is most worn down. I do not need you to fix yourself before coming near to me. I do not require you to clean up all the chaos within your soul before you are worthy of rest. I only want you to open that small door and say, Father, I am tired, and that is already enough for me to embrace your soul with my peace. You have grown so accustomed to doing everything alone that sometimes you think it is strength. But, beloved child, independence is not always a sign of maturity. There are souls that appear very strong on the outside, yet inside they are exhausted because they have never allowed themselves to lean on anyone. True maturity is not always standing up again by yourself. True maturity is knowing how to bow before me and admit, I can no longer continue by my own strength. And when you say that, I am not disappointed in you. I rejoice because, at last you are allowing me to carry what never belonged on your shoulders in the first place, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Beloved child, I have never asked you to control every outcome. There are battles I never intended for you to fight alone, yet you still hold on to them because you are afraid that if you let go, everything will fall apart. I want you to know that this world is not held together by your hands. It is held by my power, and when you learn to lay those burdens down, you will not become weaker. You will become free. Remember Mary when she sat at my feet and listened, while Martha was overwhelmed by countless responsibilities. Martha thought she had to do so much in order to be valuable enough, but I said that Mary had chosen the better part. Beloved child, your soul also needs to sit down in that same way, not to do more, but to be loved, not to try to prove anything, but to rest in my presence. I know it has been a long time since you have truly rested, not the kind of rest the body takes after a tiring day, but the deep rest of the soul where the mind no longer has to fight every worry, where the heart no longer condemns itself for not being good enough. There are days when you lie down to sleep, yet inside, it feels as though you are still running endlessly, and I am calling you back to that true rest, not through great and spectacular things, but through the very small moments you once forgot. Look at the evening sunlight touching the window. Listen to the birds singing in the quiet morning. Feel the gentle wind brush across your face when you pause in the hurried rhythm of life. Those small things are not meaningless. Beloved child, they are my gentle touches upon your weary soul. Just as the prophet Elijah was once nourished by me with warm bread and cool water in the wilderness before continuing his journey, I am also caring for you through simple things filled with love. Therefore today, do not force yourself to be strong anymore. Do not think your worth lies in how much you can endure. I have not called you to be a slave to burdens. I have called you to be my child, and a child does not need to prove that they are worthy of the Father's love. Let me fight the rest of the battle. Let me become the resting place for your soul. Then, little by little, you will realize that true peace does not come when every storm disappears, but when you know you are being held in my hands that will never let you go. Beloved child, there will come a day when you sit quietly in the middle of a very ordinary afternoon, and tears suddenly fall not because of pain anymore, but because your heart has finally touched my tenderness. You may not immediately understand why you are crying. Nothing dramatic has just happened. There is no clear explanation. It is simply that after so many months and days of forcing yourself to be strong, your soul finally realizes that it no longer has to fight alone. And in that moment, those tears will become holy waters, washing away the weary dust that has covered your heart for far too long. I know there are hidden places deep within your heart where you have never allowed anyone to enter. The wounds you have carefully hidden beneath your smile, the memories you have tried to forget, yet still ache quietly whenever night falls. The times you blamed yourself for not being good enough, not strong enough, not enough to keep everything whole. But beloved child, I do not come to judge those wounds. I come to touch them with healing, like a gentle shepherd bending down to lift an injured sheep out of the thorns. I am gently lifting your soul out of the places that have left you exhausted. Thou puttest my tears into thy bottle. Not one of your tears has fallen without my seeing it. The sobs you have hidden from the world have never been forgotten before me. There are prayers you have never spoken aloud. Yet I heard them long ago, and I keep them all, like a father tenderly gathering every broken piece of the child he loves. Beloved child, I know you have carried many burdens for too long. You hold on to them because you think that if you let go, everything will collapse. You believe that if you stop trying a little more, if you stop controlling a little more, everything will immediately fall apart. But listen to me deeply in this moment. What is slowly breaking is not the world around you, but your own soul beneath that weight. And I did not create you to live in exhaustion. I created you for life. I created you so your soul could bloom beneath the light of my love, not shrink back under pressure and fear. If a branch keeps trying to hold on to dead leaves, it will no longer have strength to receive the new buds of the coming season. And many times, what you need is not to try harder, but to learn how to lay down what I never asked you to carry. Remember the woman who was bent over for 18 years in Scripture. For many years, she walked with a heavy body and eyes that could only look down at the ground. But with just one touch from me, she immediately stood upright and glorified God. Beloved child, there are burdens that have kept your soul bent down for too long. I do not want you to keep living with eyes that can only see dust and disappointment. I want to lift you up so you can see the sky once again. Letting go is not failure. There are times when laying something down is the bravest act of faith. When you place something into my hands, you do not lose it. You simply stop trying to do the work that belongs to me. Be still and know that I am God. That stillness is not the surrender of despair, but the rest of a soul that finally believes it no longer has to save itself. I am not waiting for you at the end of the journey, like a distant king who only appears when everything has become perfect. I am walking with you right in the middle of this most tangled part of the road. right in the room where you once cried alone, right in the days when you wake up with no strength left in your heart. There is no darkness too thick for me to enter. There is no pain too small for me to take seriously. I am there. In every weary breath you take, in every moment when you think you are about to collapse. So today, try laying down just one small part. Beloved child, you do not need to do everything all at once. Just open your hands a little more. Let me have space to enter the place you once locked tightly out of fear. Let me carry the heavy part your shoulders were never created to bear. And then you will begin to feel something you have forgotten for a very long time: relief. You will see that when your heart becomes lighter, your eyes will also begin to see differently. The things that once looked only like walls will now reveal small openings of light. The places where you once thought there was only disappointment will begin to glimmer with hope. Not because the circumstances have changed immediately, but because your soul has stopped sinking beneath the weight of fear. Just as Hagar in the wilderness once thought everything was over for her and her son. Yet I opened her eyes to see that a well of water was very near. I will also open your eyes to recognize the streams I have quietly prepared for you long ago. And from that place, you will continue your journey in a very different way. No longer walking like someone being dragged by invisible burdens. No longer trying to live merely to endure one more day, but walking with a soul set free, with hands that no longer clench tightly out of fear of loss, with a heart opened wide to receive the life I am pouring out like cool water in a dry and weary wilderness. Beloved child, I do not promise that life will no longer have trials, but I do promise that you will no longer have to carry everything alone. And when you truly allow me to enter the deepest place within your heart, you will understand that the greatest miracle is not that every problem disappears instantly, but that your soul has finally learned how to rest in my love that never changes. Beloved child, now that your heart has become less heavy than before, now that the waves in your mind no longer toss you as violently as they once did, I want you to pause for a moment and hear this deeply within your soul. You do not need to run anymore. I have never placed your life in a race against anyone. The world makes you think your worth is measured by speed, by the number of achievements you attain, by how others look at you with admiration. But beloved child, my kingdom has never operated that way. I do not love you more on the day you succeed brilliantly, and I do not move away from you on the days when you have only enough strength to take small steps in silence. I have been with you since before you even knew how to call my name, before you understood what success or failure meant. I already loved you. When you were only a small cry in this vast world, I looked upon you with the tender eyes of a father. And even today, what delights my heart is not your great performances before people, but the quiet faithfulness you show in the small things that no one else sees. Beloved child, the world loves lights that burst forth like fireworks. People cheer for quick victories, dramatic transformations, and sudden leaps that astonish everyone. But fireworks only shine brightly for a moment before fading into the darkness. The things that belong to me are like the dawn slowly spreading across the sky. Not loud, not showy, yet powerful enough to awaken the whole earth. I am building within you something more enduring than the passing emotions of the crowd. I am forming in you a soul that knows how to persevere, how to love, and how to stand firm even when no one is applauding. Remember David when he was still a shepherd boy in the open fields, before he stood before Goliath, before he became king. He had long and quiet days, simply caring for the flock beneath the silent sky. No one saw that faithfulness except me. Yet it was precisely in those unnoticed days that I prepared him for something greater. Beloved child, do not look down on the ordinary steps you take each day. I see everything. I see the mornings when you wake up with a weary heart but still choose to continue living with hope. I see the times when you keep your heart kind, even when no one acknowledges it. I see the moments when you choose forgiveness instead of holding on to bitterness. In heaven's eyes, those things are not small at all. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. I am not building your life upon brief explosions that quickly fade. I am building it upon the foundation of endurance. A great tree does not grow in a single night. It grows day by day, quietly sending its roots deeper into the earth. And I am doing the same with you. Perhaps today you cannot yet see the full result of the journey you are walking, but every faithful step is forming something deeper than your eyes can see. Beloved child, do not wait until everything is perfect before you allow yourself to rejoice. Do not think that only great victories deserve to be called miracles. A day when you wake up and still want to trust me amid things that remain unclear, that is already a victory. A moment when you choose to be gentle with yourself instead of condemning yourself, that is already light. A quiet instant when you sit still and feel gratitude slipping in among your worries, that is a miracle blooming within you. I know that sometimes you grow tired because you feel you are moving too slowly. You watch others move forward so quickly and wonder whether you are falling behind. But beloved child, I do not measure your journey by the clock of the world. There are souls that run very fast yet lose themselves along the way. And there are steps that seem slow, yet they bring you to the exact place I desire. What matters is not how quickly you go, but whether you are still walking with me. Look at the river. It does not rush, does not compete, does not try to prove anything. Yet through gentle endurance, it can still wear down even hard stone over time. The deepest transformation often does not come with a loud sound, but through quiet movements sustained day after day. And I am doing that in your life. Beloved child, my heart is pleased not only in the moments when you shine before the crowd, but in the times when you continue walking in faith, even though no one sees you. There are days when simply not giving up is already a great victory in my eyes. There are nights when you think you have done nothing significant, yet heaven still sees a soul persevering to keep the small lamp of faith from going out. So today, stop forcing yourself to become extraordinary according to the world's definition. Slow down enough to hear the birds in the morning, to feel the evening sunlight touch your skin, to recognize that I am still very near in each of those simple things. I do not need you to become a firework that shines brilliantly and then quickly fades. I want you to become a small but steady lamp, quietly shining through every season of life. And one day, when you look back, you will understand that the most beautiful things I have done in your life were not the most dazzling moments, but the way I quietly transformed a soul once weary and full of fear into one that is steady, gentle, and filled with light through each small but faithful step every day. Beloved child, I know there are times when you look around and feel as though you are moving more slowly than everyone else. You see others seeming to go so far, so quickly, while you are still here, still trying with small and quiet steps. And then a worry rises within your heart that time is passing, that you may be missing something important. But beloved child, I am not limited by time as you experience it. I stand beyond that flow, and I see your entire path from beginning to end. No moment of yours is wasted in my hands. If I am not urging you to run, then you do not need to force yourself to hurry. I have never placed your life in a race. The rhythm I have appointed for you is not the rhythm of pressure, but the rhythm of peace. And beloved child, when you learn to walk according to that rhythm, you will realize that stability is not as dull as you once thought. It is the sign of a soul taking deeper root, no longer being carried away by passing emotions, and beginning to live in the steadiness that comes from me. There will be days when your heart feels so quiet that it seems as though nothing is happening. No great emotion, no clear movement, only a stillness that stretches on. And in those days, you may think you are standing still, but I am doing a very deep work within you. I am teaching you to walk not by emotion, but by commitment. Emotions may rise and fall like waves upon the sea, but your commitment to me will keep you standing firm, even when your heart no longer feels anything clearly. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, I am shaping you in ways that noise never could. When you stop chasing temporary excitement, you begin to learn how to be faithful in small things, repeated things, quiet things, but deeply meaningful things. And it is there that I smile upon you, not because you are doing something that attracts the attention of the world, but because you are learning how to belong to me more deeply. Beloved child, I see clearly every small victory of yours that you often fail to notice. A morning when you still rise even though your heart feels heavy. A time when you choose patience instead of anger. A moment when you keep your gentleness in the midst of pressure. These things are not small, in my eyes. They are the first stones paving the road of your life. Un by un, quietly yet firmly. Not one of them is overlooked. Not one of your efforts is forgotten. I am not calling you to become radiant according to the standards of the world. I am forming within you a life with deep roots. A life that is not swept away by comparison. Not shaken by the speed of others. Not defined by outward eyes. I am teaching you to stand firm in me. Remember the great tree deep in the forest. It does not rise up in a single day, nor does it grow by rushing. It grows through time, through the patience of the soil, the rain, the wind, and the changing seasons. And you are the same. There are parts of you that I am nurturing in silence, where your eyes cannot yet see the result. But life is quietly being formed day by day. Beloved child, do not take lightly the days that seem ordinary. It is precisely those days that are building the foundation for the person I have called you to become. Not a life that needs glitter in order to exist, but a life with clear direction in me. Not a soul that always needs recognition, but a soul that knows it already belongs. I am not in a hurry in the work I am doing within you, because I know clearly that what I am forming is something enduring. And when you look back on this journey, you will see that the slow steps you are taking today are actually the surest steps leading you to the place I prepared beforehand. So keep walking. Beloved child, there is no need to run, no need to compare, no need to strain yourself to move faster than anyone else. Simply remain faithful in each small step, in each ordinary day, in each gentle choice that turns toward me. And then you will realize that this quiet endurance is carrying you farther than anything you once imagined, not through noise, but through the depth of a life that belongs to me. Beloved child, I know there are times when you look around and feel as though you are moving more slowly than everyone else. You see others seeming to go so far, so quickly, while you are still here, still trying with small and quiet steps. And then a worry rises within your heart that time is passing, that you may be missing something important. But beloved child, I am not limited by time as you experience it. I stand beyond that flow, and I see your entire path from beginning to end. No moment of yours is wasted in my hands. If I am not urging you to run, then you do not need to force yourself to hurry. I have never placed your life in a race. The rhythm I have appointed for you is not the rhythm of pressure, but the rhythm of peace. And beloved child, when you learn to walk according to that rhythm, you will realize that stability is not as dull as you once thought. It is the sign of a soul taking deeper root, no longer being swept away by passing emotions, and beginning to live in the steadiness that comes from me. There will be days when your heart feels so quiet that it seems as though nothing is happening. No great emotion, no clear movement, only a stillness that stretches on. And in those days, you may think you are standing still, but I am doing a very deep work within you. I am teaching you to walk not by emotion, but by commitment. Emotions may rise and fall like waves upon the sea, but your commitment to me will keep you standing firm, even when your heart no longer feels anything clearly. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, I am shaping you in ways that noise never could. When you stop chasing temporary excitement, you begin to learn how to be faithful in small things, repeated things, quiet things, but deeply meaningful things. And it is there that I smile upon you, not because you are doing something that attracts the attention of the world, but because you are learning how to belong to me more deeply. Beloved child, I see clearly every small victory of yours that you often fail to notice. A morning when you still rise, even though your heart feels heavy. A time when you choose patience instead of anger. A moment when you keep your gentleness in the midst of pressure. These things are not small. In my eyes, they are the first stones paving the road of your life. One by one, quietly yet firmly. Not one of them is overlooked. Not one of your efforts is forgotten. I am not calling you to become radiant according to the standards of the world. I am forming within you a life with deep roots, a life that is not swept away by comparison, not shaken by the speed of others, not defined by outward eyes. I am teaching you to stand firm in me. Remember the great tree deep in the forest. It does not rise up in a single day, nor does it grow by rushing. It grows through time, through the patience of the soil, the rain, the wind, and the changing seasons. And you are the same. There are parts of you that I am nurturing in silence, where your eyes cannot yet see the result. But life is quietly being formed day by day. Beloved child, do not take lightly the days that seem ordinary. It is precisely those days that are building the foundation for the person I have called you to become. Not a life that needs glitter in order to exist, but a life with clear direction in me. Not a soul that always needs recognition, but a soul that knows it already belongs. I am not in a hurry in the work I am doing within you, because I know clearly that what I am forming is something enduring. And when you look back on this journey, you will see that the slow steps you are taking today are actually the surest steps leading you to the place I prepared beforehand. So keep walking. Beloved child, there is no need to run, no need to compare, no need to strain yourself to move faster than anyone else. Simply remain faithful in each small step, in each ordinary day, in each gentle choice that turns toward me. And then you will realize that this quiet endurance is carrying you farther than anything you once imagined, not through noise, but through the depth of a life that belongs to me. Beloved child, I have not placed upon your shoulders the burden of creating something great in order to prove your worth. I have never required you to become a mark that shakes the world, nor have I demanded that you always stand in a prominent place. What I desire from you is far simpler. Remain in me. Keep walking day by day, and hold on to faith, even when everything around you has not yet changed in the way you hoped. There are miracles I perform that do not come with applause, that do not carry radiant signs for you to easily recognize. Yet they are more enduring than all the noisy things the world honors. They often appear in the quiet faithfulness of a heart that perseveres and refuses to give up. Remember Noah, beloved child, when he began building the ark in the midst of a generation that did not understand him, with no visible guarantee and no clear evidence of what was to come. He still continued day after day. Each strike of the hammer, each small task carried out in long patience, and I saw all of it. It was not only the moment when the ark was completed that became a miracle. It was each day of silent obedience that became the place where the miracle was being formed. Do you see? Great things in my hands do not begin with perfection. They begin with repeated faithfulness in the days that seem most ordinary. So today, you may still not see anything too different happening. But I want you to understand that even in a normal day as you see it, I am still working. You are still walking, whether slowly or quickly. You are still keeping your heart open to me, even when at times you feel weary. And that very continuation, that refusal to give up, is becoming the foundation for the new thing I am quietly building in your life. You do not need to do something great in order to be seen by me. As long as you continue walking in faithfulness, I am already there, accompanying every smallest step you take. Beloved child, I know how easy it is for you to look at others and feel as though you are slower, lacking more, or not outstanding enough. You see paths that seem brighter, journeys that appear more successful, and your heart begins to ask heavy questions about your own worth. But listen to me deeply in this moment. Your journey was never designed to look like anyone else's. It is not a competition, nor is it a race to see who reaches the finish line first. It is a unique symphony, where every note has its own place and meaning in my hands, the hands of the one who is guiding the entire rhythm of your life. I did not write your life so that you would be compared, but so that you would be connected with me, with the purpose I have placed within you, and with the people I will bring into your life at the right time. There are things you are going through today that may not yet have clear meaning, but one day they will become something that touches others in ways you never expected. The things that seem quietest are often the things that carry the deepest healing. I am using your very life, not the perfect version, but the true version of you to create a story that can strengthen other weary souls. Beloved child, do not let your heart become heavy simply because you do not yet see yourself going as far as others. In my eyes, no journey is abandoned, and no step is despised. Each person is moving within a rhythm I have wisely arranged. Some are moving quickly because I am calling them into that season. Others are moving slowly because I am deepening their foundation. And you are the same. I do not waste a single rhythm in your life. Therefore, keep walking. Beloved child, there is no need to rush to prove yourself. No need to try to surpass anyone else. And no need to strain yourself to become impressive. Simply keep your heart soft before me. Keep your hands open to receive my guidance. And hold on to a simple faith that I am with you in every step. And then you will realize that this quiet faithfulness is the very place where true miracles are born, not so that you may be admired, but so that your life may become part of the healing story I am writing for this world. Beloved child, there is one thing I want you to remember deeply in your heart. Comparison only confuses your mind and causes your vision to grow dim before the very journey I am quietly building in your life. When you look at others and place yourself on the scale beside them, you will always feel that you lack something, that you are not enough in some way, or that you are being left behind. But I did not create you to stand in a race. I created you to live fully within the one unique journey I have shaped for your life. Beloved child, when you lay down silent competition, when you stop comparing each of your steps with someone else's, something wonderful will begin to happen within you. Your heart will no longer be dried up by pressure, but refreshed by a stream called enough. This is not the kind of fullness that comes from having everything others have, but the deep awareness that I am with you, and that what I am doing within you is unfolding at exactly the right time. That very fullness will open within you a different kind of light, not dazzling, not loud, but steady and gentle, spreading from the inside outward. Remember the Good Samaritan I once spoke of in Scripture. He was not the one standing in the most honorable position, not the one praised among the crowd. Yet he was the one who stopped by the roadside to care for someone who had been abandoned. Do you see? My kingdom is not built upon high positions or outward prominence before the eyes of people. It is built upon small actions filled with mercy, a compassionate gaze, a hand extended at the right moment, A simple word that comes from a genuine heart. That is where light begins to spread throughout this world. Beloved child, I have not called you to stand on a brilliant stage in order to prove your worth. In my eyes, your worth never depends on who sees you or praises you. The steps in my kingdom are not measured by the height of one's position, but by the depth of love within the heart. There will be times when I lead you lower in the eyes of the world, not to bring you down, but so that you may see more clearly the things ordinary eyes cannot see. Remember me as I walked among the forgotten, those without a voice, those considered unimportant. I did not stand above them merely to speak about love. I came down among them to touch them. And I am teaching you to walk in the same way, not to be recognized, but to become a place where others may find life again. Beloved child, there are parts of your life story that you once thought were failures. The times you stumbled, the moments you remained silent because you did not know what to say, the moments when you felt you were not good enough, but I do not see them as you see them. In my hands, not one tear is meaningless. Not one season is wasted. If you offer those things to me, I will use them to become light for others who are passing through dark nights like the ones you once endured. God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Do you see? I do not only heal you, I also use that healing to touch others through you. There are people who will find hope not through perfect words, but through a real person, someone who has fallen, suffered, and been weak, yet still rose again because they were lifted up by me, and you are part of that story. Beloved child, when you choose to live in truth, when you no longer try to hide the weak parts of yourself, you will see something profound. That very fragility becomes the place where I touch your life most clearly. Not perfection, but sincerity. Not an outward appearance of strength, but a heart that knows how to lean on me. Therefore, do not look down on the ordinary moments of your life. A simple conversation, a small word shared, a moment when you listen to someone whose heart is hurting. These things, in my hands, become bridges that lead others out of darkness. You do not need to stand in a high place in order to be used by me. You only need to be willing to remain where I have placed you, with an open heart and a genuine presence. And then one day, you will understand that the most beautiful thing is not to stand above others, but to become a light in very low places where weary souls need a hand to hold them and say, "You are not alone." And in that very moment, you will see that I have used your own life, every wound, every step, every tear to write a story that can touch the lives of others with my love that never runs dry. Beloved child, I want you to understand something very deep. You do not need to wait until everything in your life becomes stable before you begin to speak about your journey. You do not need to wait until every wound is healed, every question is answered, and every piece is complete before you dare to share. In my hands, no journey only becomes valuable after it is finished. It is often the things still unfinished, still honest, still not neatly arranged, that become the place where my power touches most deeply. I am not looking for a perfectly polished story in you so that others may admire it. I do not need you to turn your life into a flawless testimony. What I treasure is the truth in what you tell a heart that dares to say, "I went through this. I did not understand everything. I was afraid, but I still saw him there." Do you see? A true testimony does not need to be strong, according to the way the world defines strength. It does not stand above others to teach them, but sits beside someone who is weary and breathes with them in the same rhythm. And it is in that nearness that my light is carried most vividly. Remember the woman at the well in Samaria long ago. She did not have a perfect life to present before the crowd. She did not bring a polished image or a spotless past. But when she met me and told others what she had just experienced, The whole city began to come toward life, not because her words were perfect, but because they were true, and in that truth, my power was revealed. Beloved child, I also want to use your life in the same way, not after everything has settled, but right in the midst of the journey you are walking through. You once thought that spiritual maturity meant reaching a state where you no longer stumbled, no longer doubted, and no longer carried any chaos. But I say to you today, true maturity is born from honesty. It is born when you no longer hide the weak parts of yourself from me or from your own life. When you dare to look at your fear and not run from it. When you dare to admit the things you still do not understand. When you dare to keep walking even while your heart still trembles. That is the very place where my life begins to flow more powerfully within you. Let my weakness dwell in you, so that my power may be made perfect. Do you see? I do not require you to become someone who no longer has weakness. I only invite you to let your truth remain before me without hiding, without pretending, without forcing yourself to appear strong. For in that truth, I can do what perfection would never allow. I can touch the very roots of who you are and transform you from within. Beloved child, when you dare to share your journey, not to be recognized, not to impress anyone, but simply to speak the truth in love, you are opening doors that you cannot fully see by yourself. There are people who will not be reached by lofty teachings, but they will be touched and saved by a true story. A real person, an imperfect journey filled with my presence, and I will use that very thing to kindle hope in places where the light seemed to have gone out. Beloved child, do not let gratitude be covered by comparison. Comparison makes you see your life as lacking, but gratitude will soften the places that have become hardened by pressure and expectation. When you begin to look back on your journey with gratitude, you will realize that even the paths you once thought were mistakes have been used by me to lead you to where you are standing today. No one else can live your life for you. No one else can tell your story in your place. And no one else can bring your very presence to the people I have placed along your journey. That is something deeply sacred that you carry within you, not perfection, but truth. When you choose to live with an open heart, when you no longer shrink back out of fear of being judged, when you dare to let the story of your life become a sincere testimony, you are stepping into a new depth of spiritual life. There, you no longer live to prove yourself, but to touch others. You no longer live to be seen, but to become a place where others can find companionship. And I want you to know this clearly. I am present in every part of that story, even the parts you do not yet understand, even the parts you think were failures. Nothing in your life is being left behind. All of it is being woven by me into a story with life, depth, and the power to bring healing to lost souls who do not dare to speak their pain aloud. Beloved child, keep walking, keep being honest, and when you are ready, speak of your journey not as someone who has already reached the destination, but as someone who is being accompanied by me, one step at a time, for it is precisely in that honesty that I will cause life to bloom, not only within you, but also through you, for others as well. Beloved child, I want you to engrave this deeply upon your heart. The light within you does not need to be so brilliant that it shakes the world in order to have value. It does not need to impress, does not need to surpass others, does not need to stand in a high place in order to be seen. What I seek in you is faithfulness in that light, a small light that does not go out, a quiet faith that does not turn away from me, a simple truth that endures over time. And it is that very light, though it may seem fragile, that I use to work great miracles in your life and through your life. Remember Moses when I called him in the wilderness. In his eyes, he had only a simple staff, nothing special, no strength worth mentioning, but in my hands, That small thing became the instrument that opened the way for the deliverance of an entire nation. Remember the 5 loaves and 2 fish of a boy among a hungry crowd. In human hands, it was far too little, unable to accomplish anything significant. But in my hands, it became abundance that fed thousands. Beloved child, I never need something great from you. I only need what you have placed in obedience and trust. Therefore, do not be afraid to tell the story of your journey, not to make yourself stand out before others, not to build an image for yourself, but to glorify me, the one who walked with you through every road you thought you could never overcome, the places that once were darkness. I have turned into places of hope. The cracks that once caused you pain, I have used so that light could pass through. And when you dare to speak of that, you are showing the world that I am still working, still healing, still writing the story of life. Beloved child, when you begin to live with that spirit, your life will no longer be a series of days spent trying to catch up with someone else. You will no longer see your journey as a pressured race where you always feel slower, lacking, or less than others. Instead, you will begin to see each day of your life as a living connection, a connection with me, with your true self, and with the people I am placing on this shared journey of faith. And in that connection, you will realize that light was never created to be kept for one person alone. It is always given to illuminate the path for many others as well. When you dare to tell your story, whether through the tears of weak days or through the smile of moments when you were lifted up, you are planting a very precious seed in the hearts of others. Hope. There are souls who do not need long sermons or complicated explanations. They only need to see a real person, walking amid their own imperfections, yet still refusing to let go of faith. And that very image will speak louder than any words. It will whisper into their hearts, if this person can still continue, then I can too. Remember the Samaritan woman at the well. She did not have a perfect past, nor a complete story to present, but once she told others what she had just encountered in me. An entire city began to come toward the light. Do you see? I do not wait for you to become perfect before I use you. I use your true journey with all its incompleteness, with all the things still unfinished, to touch others in the deepest way. And the wonderful thing is that you do not only become one who carries light to others, but you yourself are also nurtured and grown in that process. When you open your heart to share, you are also learning to look back on your life through the eyes of grace instead of judgment. You begin to see that no part of your story is useless. No tear has been forgotten. No step has been left outside my plan. Beloved child, I know there are beginnings so small that the world does not recognize them. No applause, no acknowledgement, no sign announcing that something great is happening. There is only a whisper within your heart, yes, I will go. But beloved child, that simple yes is the very place where every spiritual movement begins. Not because of its volume, but because of the depth of surrender within it. I do not measure change by outward noise. I measure it by the obedience of your heart. And when you dare to say yes in small things, in quiet steps, in days when no one sees, I am opening roads you have never imagined. So today, keep walking. Beloved child, keep being faithful to the small light you are carrying. Keep living truthfully, speaking truthfully, and believing truthfully. And then you will see that from things that seem so simple, I am quietly opening an entirely new season, not loud, not showy, but deep enough to transform your life, and bright enough to touch the lives of many others as well. Beloved child, I want you to pause for a long while in this truth. Not one of your steps is meaningless in my eyes, even if it is only a very small step, a very slow step, a very quiet step unseen by anyone, acknowledged by no one. Praised by no one, I am still there, watching over it as a sacred part of the journey I am writing in your life. The world often pays attention only to great leaps, major changes, and moments that make people marvel. But I am different. I see strength in quiet faithfulness, in the things no one applauds, in the efforts known only to you. Remember that I am the one who can use even that simple step to open an entirely new land in your life. Not because the step is great, but because it is taken in faith. There are doors that do not open through noise, but through perseverance. There are lands that are not discovered through sudden explosions, but through steady, faithful steps, day after day. And beloved child, the very things that seem so small today are becoming the foundation for very great things tomorrow. I know there are days when you have only enough strength to take one more step and then stop. Just one step, but do not look down on that. In my hands, one faithful step is never small. It is a stone placed exactly where it belongs, in the larger picture you cannot yet see fully. I do not see your journey as scattered fragments. I see it as a whole being woven together perfectly. Every time you choose to continue, I am adding another thread to the fabric of your life. And one day, when you step back and see the whole picture, you will realize that not one thread was unnecessary. Faithfulness in little things will lead to faithfulness in greater things. Do you see? I do not begin with great things. I begin with very small things that are held firmly in loyalty. When you forgive in silence even though your heart is still hurting. When you choose patience instead of giving up. When you continue to believe even though you have not yet seen the result. All of these things are quietly shaping the person you are becoming. Not a person built only for shining moments, but a person with deep roots in me. I know the world rarely sees the value of quiet accumulation, but I see each part clearly. I see the prayers you do not dare to speak aloud. I see the times when you restrain your heart from turning away. I see the mornings when you wake up though your heart is still heavy, yet still choose to take another step. None of these things is forgotten. None of them falls out of my hands. Beloved child, let the expectation within you become a gentle stream, not impatience, not the pressure to see results immediately. Expect like a sower who believes the season will come. Even though today the ground is still silent, the sower does not pull up the sprout to check it every day. He trusts the process he cannot see. And I am teaching you to live in the same way, to trust what is growing in silence. Every day you live faithfully, even in a very ordinary way, is a day when I am multiplying life within you, not through a sudden explosion, but through deep transformation from within. A heart that once easily grew discouraged is becoming more steadfast. A soul that once wandered in confusion is learning to become more peaceful. A person once swept away by comparison is learning to stand still in the worth I have placed within them. And then one day, beloved child, when you look back on the journey you have walked, you will not see one loud miracle announcing the change. You will simply realize that you have become different, steadier, deeper, gentler, freer. And you will understand that the miracle was not found in one great moment, but in the thousands of small steps where you did not give up. I do not forget a single step you take. I do not overlook a single effort you make. And I will never leave the journey you are walking. For I am the one who is turning each of those small steps into a path of hope, of growth, and of a life truly worth living in me. Beloved child, I want you to understand this deeply. You are never measured by perfection. I have never placed such a harsh standard upon your life, nor do I look at you through the lens of your failures or the things you still lack. Before me, you are not a performance that must reach absolute perfection. You are a journey being guided by me. And what delights my heart is not that you have never stumbled, but that you still choose to keep walking even after you have fallen. Beloved child, I see very clearly the moments when you think no one is paying attention, when there is no applause, when there is no recognition, when everything outside is silent. Yet within you there is a quiet battle between wanting to stop and wanting to continue. And I want you to know that as long as you are still walking in days like these, even in a very small and quiet way, you are pleasing my heart far more than you realize. The Lord seeth not as man seeth. Do you see? I am not drawn to outward perfection. I look upon the heart that knows how to rise one more time, that knows how to say, I will continue, even when there is no guarantee ahead. And it is precisely in that simple faithfulness that I am working most deeply. Not loudly, not hurriedly, but steadily and surely, like the light of dawn, slowly spreading through the darkness of night. Beloved child, there are steps that seem very small, yet within them they carry the power to open an entirely new season. One step taken in faith, at the time I have appointed, can become the beginning of things you have never imagined. But what I want you to remember is not the size of that step, but the heart behind it. For it is faithfulness itself that I use to open doors greater than your life. And that new season, beloved child, has never been meant for you alone. I never do anything in your life only for it to stop with you. When you are faithful in the days no one sees, when you keep your light burning in moments that seem to bear no result, you are becoming a source of light for others who are also walking in darkness. There are souls who will find hope, not through a great sermon, but through your quiet perseverance. Remember Abraham when I called him to leave the familiar place without showing him the entire journey ahead. He did not see the whole map, but he still walked, and that very step opened a new stream of history. Beloved child, I am doing something similar in your life. I do not always show you everything, but I always lead you enough for the next step. So today, if all you can do is whisper one very small word, I will continue. Do not take it lightly. In my eyes, that word is not small at all. It is a yes that opens the door of grace. It is the sign of a heart that refuses to give up. And in the very moment you choose to continue, I have already begun preparing what lies ahead. Even though you cannot yet see it, then there will come a day when you step through that door and look back on the road you have traveled. You will not see that you arrived late. You will see that you were led in the right rhythm, at the right time, through the right process that I had quietly woven long ago. Not early, not late, only right within my wisdom. And when you stand there, you will realize the deepest truth. The greatest thing I have done was not only changing the circumstances around you, but transforming the person within you, from a heart easily given to doubt into a heart that knows how to trust, from a soul weighed down by comparison into a soul that knows how to rest in me, from a person striving to control everything into one who is learning to obey in peace. Beloved child, it is from that very place where quiet faithfulness meets my grace that every true door begins to open, not by your own strength, but by my guidance, which never leads you astray. Beloved child, when you begin to slow down enough to listen, when your hands no longer cling tightly to things that were never meant to belong to you, when your heart learns how to lay down the burdens you have carried in silence for far too long, then, in that very moment, you are stepping into the way of life I have gently invited you into from the beginning. Not a life driven by the noise of the world, not a journey dragged forward by the pressure to prove something, but a life led in awareness, where every step is accompanied by my presence. Beloved child, I have never expected you to shine in a way that forces the whole world to notice. I do not need you to become the sun at blazing noon, where every eye must turn toward you. What I love in you is another kind of light, the light of dawn. Gentle, faithful, not loud, yet powerful enough to drive away the darkness little by little. That is the kind of light that does not come from your own strength, but from my very presence living within you, moving through you, and walking with every step you take. Remember the quiet mornings when the sunlight first gently touches the horizon. There is no explosion, no display, and yet the whole world is still illuminated. Your spiritual life is the same. I do not always act in dramatic moments. Many times, I am moving most powerfully in things that are very quiet, very ordinary, and very easy to overlook. And if today you feel yourself slowing down, or even stopping in the middle of the journey, do not let your heart sink into shame or self-blame. Use that very moment to remember me. Remember the times I held you when you thought you could no longer stand. The times when you believed you had reached your limit, and yet an invisible hand still lifted you up. The times when you passed through things you once believed you could never overcome. Beloved child, those memories are not meant to keep you living in the past, but to remind you of a truth that never changes. I have never left you, not even for a single moment. And if I was with you in the seasons that have passed, then I am also with you in this very moment. I do not ask you to resist every pressure by forcing yourself to be strong. Straining has never been the place where true faith is born. Instead, I invite you to let faith become a quiet current within your heart, like a spring that never runs dry. Even when its surface is sometimes hidden beneath stones and soil. Whenever doubt comes near, whenever delay makes your heart feel heavy, pause for just a moment. There is no need to run faster, no need to try harder. Only breathe deeply and let your heart return to this simple truth. I am not walking alone. Beloved child, that reminder may seem very small in a noisy world, but it carries within it the power to quiet fear. It does not erase every difficulty immediately, but it changes the way you stand in the middle of those difficulties. When you remember that I am there, fear is no longer the loudest voice within your heart. It becomes smaller, grows weaker, and eventually becomes only a distant sound with no authority to control your steps. Be still and know that I am God. Do you see? The stillness I invite you into is not emptiness, but the place where you learn to recognize my presence more clearly than every other noise. In that stillness, you are not left alone. On the contrary, it is the place where you are most deeply covered by my love. Beloved child, every small step you take in awareness, every time you choose trust instead of panic, every moment you pause to remember that I am with you, all of these things are weaving a life more enduring than you once imagined. Not a life without trials, but a life no longer defined by them. So today, walk in that gentle light. There is no need to hurry, no need to display anything. Only remain faithful in each breath, each small choice, each ordinary step, and then you will realize that in the very things that seem simplest, I am building within you a deep strength, an unshakable peace, and a presence that will never leave you.